Hey, this is Nolan Hammer, meet founder of the VA Showcase. Obviously, a lot of elite teams and athletes come to the meet, but the ones bringing them here are the coaches. They're the ones that are doing all the work, getting them prepared. And obviously, we're very thankful for these elite coaches bringing their teams every year to the VA Showcase. I really appreciate that, guys. This meet would not be what it is today without you guys supporting the event. So up first, Coach Maurice Hutton, head coach at South County High School. State champion coach, trying to build the program up. Obviously, it has a long history of elite athletes, but you're trying to build it into a holistic program. So talk to us about, as a coach, you've been one of the more prominent coaches about traveling to try and get exposure for some of your athletes. Walk us through that as a coach and, kind of the mindset for that to get the best competition, but also, exposure for your athletes.
Oh, wow. So one of the reasons we like to travel to a lot of big meets is we find that if you don't compete under the bright lights, when you finally get there, you get starstruck. And so when I was a very young coach starting out, I realized when I took my athletes to very big meets, to whether it was a state meet or a national championship with NSAF, if that was their first big competition of the year, it never really went well. And a wise coach told me, you got to take them to the bright lights before that, so when they get to the dance, they can dance like they've already been there.
So what are some of the goals for the season?
Just to be in our best self. Every day we come out, we have our goals that we set, whether it's a relay goal or a personal goal, but we focus on being our best selves, personal best every week. We really try to make sure that we execute our race plan, we trust our training, and we go through our progressions.
So Mia Mason had a breakout race. How do you try and coach that? Because you obviously want to coach consistency at a high level, which a lot of your athletes are doing. But at the same time, you want to try and it's the one or the other of like don't break down what's not broken.
Right.
But at the same time, you got to try new things. So as a coach, how do you balance that to try and force those breakout performances like Mia Mason's hurdles?
You just have to sit down and break down the film and look for the areas of opportunity. There's always something that we can be better at. So after every race, we have a debrief. We go through the film. We look at our progressions. We look at what we're doing in practice, and then we write a plan for what we're doing for the next 3 to 4 weeks, and we stick to the plan, and the plan will work.
And then final question, what are you most excited for this weekend for your kids running?
Just the environment. I mean, we're competing against some of the best kids in the country.
So you're not going to tell me the honest answer to 4x2.
We're excited to compete against the best of the best. That's what it is.
Great. We wish you the best of luck, Coach. I definitely think it's going to be a fun weekend. So up next, Victor Blackett of Archbishop Carroll.
Hey.
Obviously, you've had some success at this meet recently, the 4x2s. Just knocking on the door. You got the national record, though, later in the season. Obviously, you have some really good star talent. Walk us through, coaching the 4x2 and that kind of being a big event for Archbishop Carroll.
It's been a big event for a minute too. For the past couple of years, the boys had this number set by Bullis, and we kept chasing it, and it got to the point where it's don't chase it. If my biggest goal was if we focus on the individuals, then when we do put relays together, it'll come together. And it did last year. Unfortunately, we all had to experience running at Reggie Lewis, so that right there was just trying to survive, not twist an ankle, not fall, not die. But we got it. We got it at the Adidas National, so that was a huge accomplishment.
So, obviously, as a coach, especially you don't chase times. I know you're trying to get better, but every single one of your kids is chasing a time,
yes.
And they're on mile split every single
Yes,
weekend.
Talking about it.
So how do you balance that as a coach? You have to be real and understand, there are goals.
Right.
Our sport is tied to time, but at the same time, how do you detach that in training?
We make a promise, we make a promise with me. I don't talk about times at all. We don't talk about times. Now, there's certain times where we have to find the standard for a meet or a qualification. So we know that goal, and that just is tattooed in the back of our brain. But I don't talk about time at all. And you, Livia, y'all always ask me about times, about what they're going to do in the open, what they're going to do in the relay. And it's just taboo to me. I don't talk about it at all. Now the kids, I'll get messages from Olivia and Miles been like, hey, the kids said they're gonna do this. I was like, oh, they did? Great. So they add a little bit of stress to me. But at practice, on the road, at the hotel, treatment, weight room, I don't talk to them about time at all. They don't talk to me about time at all. They know it.
So obviously with Jake competing overseas, what was that like for you as a coach? You know, obviously had some ups and downs. Talks about the highs and the lows of his summer.
I think everybody know the lows. BBC in Europe made it very clear. Jake had so we're used to running a lot, right? I run my kids. That's not a problem. Volume's not a problem for us. But when we got to the European Championship meet, it was the first time where we just had 3 rounds. So I'm like, okay, we got to play this smart. It was my fault. Like, I literally told him, like, gauge, go through the 150, gauge where you are. But I don't think I understood what I said. Like, he went through the 150 and just turned it all the way off. And it was rougher, I think, for me than him. Like, we took his phone, we took social media off for a day, but I was the one in the hotel, like, going through it. Like, Jake was like, "It's okay, calm down." I'm like, "No, it's my fault." So, but he was the strong one in it. Like, every interview, all the media, he was just the mature one to say, "I messed up." And I'm like, you could blame me. Let me take it for you. Because I think we all experience this. Like, the trolls on the internet are just, I mean, the vitriol to children is just crazy. And then you look at the picture, it'd be a grown man. I'm like, sir, you sit on the couch talking about a 16-year-old. But it makes us better. Like, we're able to bounce back. Then he was able to get 2 medals at the U20, so that was really good. Like, we bounced back, and it was freezing there. It was like 50 degrees, so that part was hard. But the high parts was, I'd never been to Europe. I'd never been to London. And so I was over there for like a month, and I got to do a lot of things, shop and all that stuff, and just practice. And it was like a vacation and a little bit of work.
And then final question, what are you looking forward to, obviously, this weekend, but also the entire track season?
For me, it's our opener, right? So, like, I had to watch these guys compete since December, and my kids have the bug, my kids have the itch. They see them doing great, and I'm like, okay, y'all, I'm doing my best not to look like you hear it, you see it pop up. So I'm excited to see what our opener is. I know I start late, but we always have a long year. So I try to gauge it out this way. I'm excited to see the highs, and I'm excited to see the lows because we can learn from it. I don't want to see too many lows, but I'm excited for it.
That should be good. So next up, Coach Bennett with Hutton and Calabar.
Yeah.
To see them coming up maybe in the near future. So,
Yeah.
you know, coming off Penn Relays, you had a great meet. You know, Joe wishes to win a little bit different, but it was put together one of the best races we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
Walk us through, you know, the Penn Relays experience, and then obviously you guys are still trying to get into the 4x8 as well and try and go after that one. So talk to us about not just the 4x4, but, you know, the other relays as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it's great to be back, first of all. I mean, we have been back here since pre-COVID.
It's your first time in this
Yeah, first time here. Last time we come here was at Lynchburg. Pretty far. Yeah, so it's good to be here. You know, I wish you told me that Joe's going to be here. You know, this guy intimidates me a lot. You know, so I've never beaten him indoor, and I don't think it's going to happen this time, but we're going to give it the best shot. But Penn Relays was fun. You know, Penn Relays was good for us. At the back end of our season, we were able to get probably our tightest victory ever in the 4x4. It was a great race. I watch it so often. And, you know, yeah. You know, but we did well in the 4x1s as well. We won it back-to-back years. We had a good bunch of girls who did well. The 4x8, you know, like our best half miler runs the 4x4, and the scheduling doesn't suit us very well. We don't have a deep team, and so many of our girls would have to double up too much. But you know, we think we're trying to put together a 4x8 this year. They probably won't be great, but I think we'll get into the finals and we'll take it from there.
So obviously obviously coming to indoor meets, it's a little bit early in the season for you guys. But talk to us about the importance for obviously getting your kids recruited, and then because they're going to run indoors in college, and then the experience it builds and kind of builds character heading into the outdoor season as well.
Yeah, so this is brand new for everybody who came on this trip for us. They've never seen a track that leans at the sides of those banks. So it's brand new for them. They're wondering if they're going to fall off. So it should be a fun weekend to watch them. But ever since Lynchburg days at Liberty University, our girls are not transitioning very well to the indoor season in college, and I just believe that if we could get them some experience in the indoor meets, it's fun, and they're going to have to just learn from the mistakes. And we have at least, I would say, half of the team who's here this time around will be back again next year. I mean, they have another year in school or two, so it should be fun. I mean, we have some young ones back home who should be watching and listening out keenly for this. Our first meet had the 400 hurdles. That doesn't exist indoors. So there's a lot of transition that we have to make, but it should be fun. I hope these other coaches take it easy on us while we try to get our feet wet. But Joe is not kind to us normally, so yeah. But we're looking for a good weekend.
So obviously in Jamaica you have the class 1, 2, 3, and 4 system. What class do you think is your best class, pound for pound for themselves at Heidel right now?
I'm going to say our class 2. Our class 2 kids, at least 2 of them have the experience from pen relays. Nastasia Fletcher, is expected to do well this year. So yeah, I think our class 2s are doing well, all around. But we do have some ammunition in class 1 who should do well. And we have a young girl who ran 11.8 at 13 in the 100. She's not here, but hopefully one year she'll come and get her feet wet. Yeah.
Now, final question for you. I guess your second year or third year at Calabar. Talk to us about the differences, because the Jamaican programs are very much like collegiate programs where totally separate.
Yeah.
Obviously different schools, but talk to us about some of the struggles, but maybe the highlights of being able to coach the boys as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, so I only have 2 sons, and I promised myself that I wanted to do with some boys what I did with the girls. What I didn't bargain for is that I stepped into such a huge program at Calabar with so much rich history. They actually have their home meet this weekend. The boys and the girls are so different in how they approach track and field, for me at least. The boys are so competitive, but what shocked me about the boys is that they're so emotional, which I didn't expect that. The boys tend to be very emotional. They tend to be very highly team-spirited. The girls will be divided quickly. And so sometimes it's hard to get the team gelled together on the girls' side. But, they have their own pros and their own cons. Being at Calabar has been a blessing for me. I've learned to not give up on the lesser persons in track and field. We've seen some boys grow in track and field. I had a kid who opened up at 10.4 who wasn't expected to even make the team. So that was good for us. So it's just been a blessing, and I'm hoping that we could be a little closer this year to the bigger guns, and I'm hoping for a good year this year.
Yeah, hopefully they come up next year.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. We should be in New York next week with a couple of them. So yeah, hopefully next year they'll be here. Looking forward to that.
All right, so finally we have Coach Joe Lee, Bullet School. Bullet School has a long storied history here at the VA Showcase, more relay wins than anyone else. Obviously coming for trying to get that 4x4 record back. You have obviously tough competition with Heidel in there. Talk to us about because a lot of people aren't familiar that it's not just Quincy, it's not just Rothwell, it's not just Abram, it's a whole program and a culture. So talk to us as a coach how obviously you have to balance that act. You do have to focus on Quincy, but at the same time, like everyone has to be able to eat at a meet like this.
First of all, thank you for making me feel better, because this guy over here, don't even try it. No, did you see what he did? Let me tell you what he did. He said, we've never beaten him indoors, which is true, But then he went right to pin relays, and we've never beat them in pin relays, never. So that was I like that. That was good. I don't know. I was telling somebody earlier. I think if I try to figure it out all the way, I'll probably mess it up. So everything starts with us, with culture and family. We really enjoy being around each other. We enjoy each other's company. We laugh a lot. We joke a lot because I think sometimes in the sport we take it too seriously. And we forget that, like Vic was saying, like these are kids. Like let's not take this things like this is it's something more than it is. It's an opportunity for kids to grow and develop and learn things about life. And so we try to make sure that we're teaching things like treat other people the way you want to be treated. And it doesn't matter whether you're Quincy Wilson or whether you're a freshman who just came in and doesn't run track before or never ran track before. So for us, it's just making sure we're treating people well. And we don't always get that right because we're all human. I was telling somebody earlier at the last meet we were at, a couple of our senior leaders came and pulled me up and they said, Coach Lee, you said such and such to this person, and she didn't take it the right way. So we had a sit down. They're pulling me into their office, and that's how that's our culture at Bullets. Like no one is above the standard. Just because I'm the coach doesn't mean I can't do anything wrong. And we all want to make sure that we're treating each other the right way. So, and when that doesn't happen, we try to fix it, and then people feel like they're special regardless of what the times and the results are.
So obviously you had a big summer, 2 gold medalists, Quincy Wilson. Obviously a lot of questions been asked as a coach, but I'm more curious on the personal side. How was that for you as a mentor for them, but also, as a person, you get to see them grow up and mature and, the experience. How was that for you?
Still kind of something, because Paris wasn't that long ago. It's still something that is like, man, did that really happen? So just first of all, with Quincy just making it there, that whole run was phenomenal, and we had a blast doing it. And, we always say, listen, when you're not having fun, we don't have to do this anymore because you're still a high school athlete. You're still 16 years old. You still don't have your driver's license yet, So you want to go to driver's ed. Fine, we don't have to do any of this. And that started with his parents saying that very same thing. But because we were having fun and because we were keeping it in perspective, because it's a sport, we just enjoyed the ride. And even at Paris, we're like, are we really in Paris? So it was just a phenomenal experience with him. I think Masai was a little different because I've known her since she's 9 years old. And, she came to, like Quincy, she came to Bullets as a freshman. But, no one ever, at least I don't know about these guys, but no one ever says, yep, when they first walk in the door, yep, that's an Olympic champion right there. I don't know, maybe, but it's just because they're kids. They're people, I look back and some of my favorite moments were Messiah Russell are at meets where we're sitting down in the hotel lobby talking about life and trying to figure out things that regular teenagers have to figure out just like we had to figure out. So happy is an understatement. Proud is an understatement. But I think when I look back on the Olympic Games and look at what they did, it's like I'm just happy to be a part of it, privileged to be a part.
So obviously hand in hand with that is World Championship year. So as a coach, how do you kind of plan that in the back of your mind of like you got to take care of the team, but at the same time like you have a superstar on your team that requires special attention as well?
Yeah. So for us, everything is collaborative. I'm not a coach who, first of all, wants to do everything. Second of all, can do everything. Like I can't coach every event. So we have a pretty big coaching staff, and we just believe that we're all better together. So and I trust our staff. So if it's always me having to be somewhere all the time doing everything, then that's not saying much about me as a leader because, number one, you're not empowering people. But number two, you probably don't trust the people who are there. So I trust our staff. We have an amazing staff. Coach Derek with the hurdles. He's the hurdle whisperer. Dave, he's the professor. He's the, analytics guy. And, Coach Sarah, Coach O'Kinney. We've got like 12 coaches on our staff. Even people like, Connie Rothwell, who is Morgan Rothwell's mom who takes care of our operations. And, we call her the queen. She runs the universe and, tells me what to do. But it all works because, we're all on the same page. We all want to make sure that we're giving our best to the kids. And then the kids don't feel shorted because they know that at any point in time, anybody can come and support them. So instead of having just one person, who, if I don't get that person's attention, then they feel left out. They've got 12 people, and they've got their teammates, and especially, the culture on our team is the younger ones learn and listen to the olders, kind of like how you'd have, at home. So when that kind of, works, it makes for a fun experience. It takes a lot of pressure off of me, and I'm just enjoying the ride like everybody else.
So final question, I'm going to put you on a tough spot. Okay? It's easy, but it's a tough spot. You have to make a choice. So obviously you coached Bulls a while, and the coaching...
Thank you for saying that I'm old. I appreciate that.
The coaching mindset's always been the same. The knowledge base has always been the same. But pick one relay or athlete that changed the culture, that really got it to become the Bulls that it is today.
Yeah, well, personally for me, I don't believe that the knowledge base is the same, because I was telling Leah Phillips, who trains with us now, we're starting like a little pro group with our crew, and she's starting her pro career. I told her, I said, listen, you did phenomenal. She won more national titles than anybody else at Bullis, and was on national record teams. But I told her, I said, look, I'm sorry I was not as good a coach back then than I am now, because I feel like you had more in you, And she's like, Coach, what are you talking about? But I feel like we're always evolving. I don't know how these guys feel, but like I'm hoping I'm a better coach than I was back in 2017 or 2019, and we're all supposed to be. So it's not necessarily just about staying the same place. You got to evolve. As far as a particular athlete who's changed the game for us, I don't have one. And that's not me trying to evade the question or duck the question. I mean, we've had so many athletes who have done so many special things, but not just on the track. I mean, we have athletes on our team who went on, to Ivy League schools, and they're doctors now, and, they're lawyers, and they're CPAs and doing great things in life. So, I don't really have one athlete that I can say that one changed the culture or changed the game. I guess that from that group, those old heads now, it's funny because they're like uncles and aunts to these kids, and we saw them at like 14. I guess kids like maybe Eric Allen, when he kind of came in and then he brought his brothers along with him, that really kind of established a tradition on the boy side. But I can't put it just on them. I think they're some that I look to in the beginning to say, hey, do you believe in what we're doing? And they did. But I just think everybody is special in their own unique way, and they've contributed just as much as your Erics and your Basai's and your Quincy's, and they're all important to us. I know it sounds like a soundbite thing, but they are, because when they come back, I think that's the true testament of a great team. When your graduates come back and they want to be around, like, hey, Coach Vic, and they come in college and they come back, or Coach Corey, or whoever. That's when you know that you've made a difference, because they don't have to be there then. They got to come to practice now. But when they come back and they say, thank you for what you did, whether they're continuing to compete or not, that's what makes you feel like you made a difference.
Well, perfect. Thank you, guys. We wish you the best luck. We know you won't get any rest this weekend, but, at least try and enjoy it.